Learning to receive help and ask for help can be one of the hardest things as women. We are just such great nurturers, and we tend to just give and give and give until it gets to the point that we're no longer comfortable receiving. So this is part 2 of the Soft Girl Era series. And if you haven't seen part 1, that's all about getting out that survival mode and just learning to just be in your own solitude. And we're gonna get into part 2, and it's gonna be all about receiving and how to do so and how to do more of it, because we need to do more of it. If you have a hard time receiving a compliment, this is for you. If every time someone tells you a compliment, you try to justify and be like, no, this shirt is from here, or no. Instead of just saying thank you, you need to watch this video. I celebrated my birthday last month, and it was one of the best birthdays I had in a while. And it was actually how I got the idea for this video, because I felt like my birthday was a birthday of receiving, where in the past when I've tried to organize birthdays, because I didn't have the right people around me, I didn't have the right type of friends, it felt like the birthday was just giving and giving and giving, and it wasn't a true celebration of me. I'm just gonna give you about 5 ideas on how to receive based on just lessons I've learned and changes I've made to just learn to receive more and just accept it. Not because someone gives you something means that you always have to give back. It's okay to just sit back and just receive it, because why not? I'm naturally a nurturer, and I'm all about supporting my friends. I'm in this place where I'm also accepting support from friends and not pushing them away. There was a time period where a small season where I basically wanted to grow my business, so I cut out the social aspect. Don't do that, by the way. I suffered for it, and I noticed that I was starting to create gaps with friends where they weren't seeing me. I almost lost a friendship because of this, because I didn't think to just share what I was going through, didn't think to just maybe ask for help or ask for support. And I thought, well, let me just do it on my own. And as a reflection, that I almost lost a friend because of this, and I had to fight for that friendship. If I can go back, I wish I had just told her or been upfront and said, hey, this is what I'm going through, this is where I'm at, and so forth. When it came down to it and I started speaking to her, it turns out that she felt like I was pushing her away, and she was so fond of me, and she told me I always felt like I was walking around eggshells around you. But little did she know, and then once I explained to her, it made sense, and I was able to save that friendship. You have to know that if you have friends in your life, it's okay to receive support from them. It's okay to share your vulnerabilities with people, and you don't always have to hide them. You don't always have to go through it alone and figure it out on your own. You'll be surprised when a friend is very fond of you, people will show up, people will want to help you. A real friend will want to see you win. There's no reason for you to want to just go through whatever you're going through all alone. We need to take that out right now. If you want to receive, it's important that you also speak up to a really good friend or someone that you really trust, so you can actually receive help, because you just never know. Keeping things to yourself can just create unnecessary gaps that you may not want, and that's why it's just so important to learn how to ask and receive help if you need it. If you need the support, it's important to ask, because people are fond of you. There's someone out there that's very fond of you. When someone compliments me, I'm saying thank you, and that's it. I remember going to the thrift store, and I would get these creative tops that you don't see in the stores. And so what would happen is, as soon as someone would compliment me about something that I'm wearing, I would automatically talk about where I got it from, or, oh, I only got it for $5. And I found whenever I did that, it just diminished the compliment. It was just like me not accepting the compliment. It was just so unnecessary to have to do that. It gets exhausting just having to explain every time or justify something every time someone gives you a compliment, because you just can't accept it. I've gotten to the point where I'm receiving the compliments. I'm receiving encouragement. That's the hardest part, because every time someone wants to encourage me, I usually want to deflect it and be like, well, I still do mistakes. And this is something that I'm working on ongoingly, but I'm now aware of it. And I still tend to be tempted to sometimes say that when someone says that I'm good at something, I'll be like, well, I'm still learning. Or like, even when as I'm seeing my channel grow, this is something I will do, and I'll be like, well, I'm still a small YouTuber. And I have this friend where we've been very accountable to each other. And he'll always tell me, Nakia, stop calling it small, because you're growing. I'm in that era where I'm learning to receive encouragement. I'm learning to receive compliments. And when I receive the encouragement, the goal is to just accept it. And don't think that I have to be perfect in order to accept any type of good compliment. Because you know what? If it was a negative compliment, you know how fast I would accept it and I would believe it. So I'm in an era where I'm just believing any good thing that someone speaks over me. I'm receiving people who speak highly of me and accepting it and not feeling like they're out to get me or they're trying to get some type of benefit, even though I have felt like that. But I'm in an era where I'm gonna accept people speaking highly of me, because you know what? There's a lot of great things about me. There's a lot of great things about you. Accept it when someone speaks very highly of you, because we are our worst critics, okay? We see every flaw because we see ourselves every single day. So we see every single flaw. And it's time for you, if you're in that stage where you have a hard time of someone speaking highly of you, it's time to believe it. This actually takes me back to when I started doing pottery. And I remember when I was starting to make my first ever mug, like this was the first time. And I remember going to the teacher and I was like, you know, is this mug okay? Like, I kept on asking her to get validated. She kept on saying, no, it's perfect. And I'm like, are you sure? This is not looking like how it looks like when you go to the store. And you know what she turned and said to me? She was like, Nakia, cups are not meant to look perfect. They're meant to be a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. The fact that it was created by you it's a masterpiece. And I was like, dang. I'm like, that was deep. I took that so internally. Man, it's kind of like when God creates us, we're not perfect, but we are a masterpiece. We are unique in our own ways. That pottery represented me realizing that it didn't have to be perfect. It just needed to be created the way I wanted to create it. In my own image of what I thought the cup should look like. And that was that. And so I'm just sharing this because it's to tell you that you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be a perfect person to accept that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. You don't need to be perfect in order to tell yourself and encourage yourself and build yourself up. You are allowed to do mistakes, and it does not discredit your worth. It does not discredit who you are, and it doesn't discredit when someone tells you, hey, you're great. You are still great even when you do mistakes. So there's no need to beat yourself up. For that very reason, you are no longer gonna spend time putting yourself down. If anything, you're gonna build yourself up. That's something that I've been practicing on an ongoing basis. Every time I'm about to put myself down, I say something that speaks life into myself. We're not here to tear ourselves down. There's enough of that outside in that world. It's not just receiving compliments from other people. It's receiving and believing in yourself. Building yourself up in the times when you need it. In the times when you are tempted to speak something negative over yourself. This is my go-to rule, is that if you wouldn't say that to your best friend or your child, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, you shouldn't say it to yourself. So if you wouldn't tell your best friend, hey, you're ugly, or you're not good at this, or something that's discouraging, then the rule is don't say it to yourself. The only thing you are going to say to yourself is good things that lifts you up, lifts your spirit up. If someone offers to do something for me, I'm going to receive it. I met a friend in the shea butter workshop where we were creating shea butter, and I know I talked a little bit about it in part 1, but this specific friend, I ended up inviting her to my birthday. We just clicked, so I just invited her the following week, and she actually offered to do my makeup for me on my birthday. And I have to admit, I was feeling a little bit shy about it, right? Because she was just offering it. I went back and forth with it, and finally on the day of my birthday, she was like, oh, hey, are you coming over? And I had to admit, I told her, oh, I was too nervous to ask because, I don't know, like I had to ask her and say, hey, are we still on? So I told her, oh, I was just gonna go to the restaurant. And then she was like, no, no, no. She convinced me to come. She's like, no, come. I'll do your makeup for you for your birthday. And it ended up being the most kindest thing ever. So I decided to go, and she did my makeup, and I felt like $1,000,000, okay? I was so happy I decided to receive it. And I was like, wow, this is what it's like for someone to just do something nice for you and not expect anything. And you know, some of us, we've been so used to receiving something to then in turn people like expecting something from us. So therefore, when someone offers us to do something for us, we decline someone helping us because we think they're going to expect something from us in return. So therefore, we don't do it. But I'm here to tell you, there's people who are extremely selfless. I will just help you, just to help you. And that's why you need to receive it. The next time someone offers you help or offers to do something kind for you, accept it, because it changes the game. It changes the mindset. It forces you to be feminine. It forces you to just be soft, because you're like, wow, like they're just helping you and you're just in like a very calm, present state. It's such a nice feeling. You have to promise yourself, I am no longer declining things that are beneficial to me. You are gonna get what's yours. When someone offers you something nice, you're just gonna be like, yeah, sure. And you're going into that energy. So even if you had experiences where it didn't work out because then people were expecting something from you, you're gonna go in that energy saying, you know what? I deserve to be treated really well. And you just go in and to receive. And you don't think of anything else. You don't create any other scenarios. I remember hearing someone say this, it's just like in dating. So if you go with that like desperate mindset, oh my gosh, like the guy absolutely has to pay for me. He has to pay on the first date, for example. And you're going that mindset where you're worrying about it and you're wondering, okay, like is he gonna pay for it or is he gonna like dine and dash? You know what I'm talking about. And I remember hearing someone say that, you see, like when you are a princess, you just expect it. You're not worried about, oh, are they gonna do this or are they gonna do that? No, you just expect and you assume that they're a provider. And you go into that date believing that they're gonna pay for you because you are the prize. You get what I'm saying? And so it's the same idea. When someone offers you to do something, you're saying, oh no, like they're doing it for you because they like you. They're doing something nice for you because you're a kind human being. And they believe they just want to treat you. They want to show how they appreciate you. And you're going in there saying, hey, there's no strings attached. You're going in there ready to just accept what your friend is offering to do for you. Because you are a great person and it's time for you to believe that. You deserve to be treated well. On my birthday, it was actually the first time I felt like a princess. My friend offered to pay for my bill for my birthday. It was one of the nicest things. This is so nice. I have to admit, there was a little part of me that was like, I told her, I'm like, you should have told me, I wouldn't have ordered boat drinks. I liked what she said. She was like, Nikia, I didn't tell you on purpose. Because she's like, when you tell people what you're gonna do, they tend to adjust what they're doing. So she's like, if I had told you, you probably wouldn't have ordered the drinks that you did. You wouldn't have ordered what you wanted on the menu. You would have probably tried to find the cheapest thing and so forth. I never thought of it that way. And by the way, why do we do that? When someone offers to do something nice for us or to buy something for us, like, why do we then adjust it? Why do we feel bad for getting the things that we really want to get? I didn't realize that was an issue until she mentioned to me. And she's like, that's why I didn't mention to you. And I allowed her to pay for it. I resisted the urge to say no. I think she brought up a really good point. Is if someone is doing something nice for you, you shouldn't be afraid to be yourself and choose a thing that you actually like and not dumb it down because someone's buying something for you. You can get the best of the best things if someone is offering to buy you something, obviously as long as it's genuine. But I thought that was such a great point. Her goal for me, she wanted me to just be myself and not worry about what I wanted to order on the menu. So we're in an era of accepting really nice things from people with no shame. I'm no longer going to just be a giver. I'm going to also make sure that I'm receiving. I'm going to specifically pay attention to relationships where I'm the one just giving and giving and giving. Platonic or not, baby. I don't care how much I like the person. I'm going to be fully aware and pay attention to how people are treating me. I feel as women, we usually put ourselves on the platter first. As soon as we like someone, platonic or not, we tend to just leave ourselves up for grabs somewhere. And then we put other people on platters, on the best platters, and we forget to put ourselves on the best platters. I'm gonna say it for you, because you may not hear a lot of women say it for themselves. It is extremely exhausting to just be nurturing and supportive and not get anything back. Very exhausting. And it's completely okay to admit it. I've done a lot of work on myself, really helping myself grow and heal and just change my life around. Instead of being the victim and just learning to own up to what's happening around me. One of those things for me was every time I allowed someone to just walk over me or to just take and take and take, it always did myself a disservice. And a lot of it was learning how to put myself first, to make sure that I'm receiving what I need from whether it's any type of relationship. And so the biggest thing I look for and I pay attention to is that person making just as much effort as I am. Because I know for myself that I make the effort that I need to make. I don't simp out on that. When it comes to making effort for a friend, I'm willing to go above and beyond. So it's like, are they willing to go above and beyond for me? And if I see it's too one-sided, I would usually back away. This is just a side story. I remember I was seeing this guy. And we just met, I don't know, maybe it was the Holy Spirit. And something just told me, ask him if he would be willing to come to my place to help me move around furniture. It was a very simple question. And it was such a weird thing because I wouldn't usually do this, right? Because again, this is coming from a place of, you know, you're asking and receiving. As soon as I asked him that, he was like, no, I wouldn't do that. In my mind, I was like, what? Wait, what? He was like, well, unless I'm in a serious relationship, then I would help the person. If I wasn't in a serious relationship with you, I would only do 10 to 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, fair. But what I thought was funny is he kept on trying to ask about my place and ask questions about where I live and like, how do I live and like what my place looks like. And he even offered my place as a suggestion to go for a date apart from all the other options he gave, which was like going outside and so forth. I think why I was taken aback by his answer. So he was willing to come to my place for his benefit, but he wasn't willing to come to my place for my benefit. You guys have to take that in, okay? He was willing to come to my place for his benefit, but wasn't willing to do it for my benefit. And there's gonna be people out there that are willing to talk to you for their benefit, but they're not willing to speak to you for your benefit. And you have to pay attention to that. And if I didn't ask that one question, I wouldn't have figured him out. I figured him out because of that one simple question. And I know there may be people saying, well, technically, like, it should be only serious, blah, blah. But the point blank is that if someone is fond of you and they like you, they're gonna be willing to help you. They're gonna want to see you benefit. They're gonna want to see you win. And this is not only for dating. If you are in a very healthy platonic relationship or a family-based relationship, they're going to want to help you for your benefit. They're going to want to see you win. If the person is not wanting to see you win, that's when they're going to take. And they're not going to want to give. And what ended up happening with him, he was just looking for me to give and give for his needs, but he wasn't willing to give to me. To me, that was a red flag. I believe the only reason why I caught it is because I was working on myself and I was very aware that I'm a nurturer, I'm a giver, and I will give my heart out. So I had those walls up, baby. I was ready. When I saw that, I was like, oh no, selfish. There are people out there that are very selfish and they're just looking out for themselves. And if you are a giver and you know that you're extreme people pleaser, you're extreme giver, you are very vulnerable, especially if you are not aware of yourself. It's very important that you're very aware because there's people out there that don't have your best interests at heart. This is why I tell people, like, you should not be looking for friendships, even relationships, should not even be going on dating apps. If you are not aware of where your downfalls are, I'm not saying you need to be perfect, but it's important that you're aware of your downfalls. You are working on yourself ongoingly, internally. There's people who are not doing that. And so if you are depending on someone else to do so, you're going to come across the wrong type of people who is just going to continue to validate how you see people and how you're being treated. You have to be protective of yourself because no one else is. Because I have worked on myself, and I'm nowhere near saying I'm perfect, I was able to catch that and recognize, like, wait, he wants to do this for his own benefits. He's not looking to do it for the benefit of me. And I don't think I've ever thought like that before. But I was able to actually step back and say, okay, what is this? What is wrong with this? Like, before, I didn't used to listen a lot to my intuition. But this time, I recognized something and I was like, wait, something's wrong here. I was able to analyze it and figure it out. Don't be fooled. You can't leave yourself in someone's hands and expect them to just treat you well. You have to be protective of your space. And yes, there's great people, because I just gave you examples of great people who are willing to just, you know, give to me and be nice and treat me well. But you still have to be protective, and you have to be able to pull out those great people who are genuinely rooting for you and not there to just take it to the point where you can't even give anymore. The more I depend on God, life just gets sweeter. I understand this could be a very cliche statement, but I want to explain a little bit more about me. I naturally worry a lot, basically. I'm one of those people where I would stay up at night and I would just worry about a situation over and over again. And so for me, it's so refreshing to know that I can just do a business declaration, speak it out, and just leave it up to God and do the work that I need to do. It's just refreshing to know that I don't have to stress and I don't have to take all the stress on myself, and I can just leave it to God. It's refreshing for me to know that I can find evidence and just leave it up to God and just be like, okay, this is my worry, so it's on you, Lord. It's just refreshing to know that I can take my burdens and leave it on someone else's. So that way I can thrive in who I am. So that way I don't have to constantly feel like I need to be strong. We're often taught, and I'm sure you've heard this, that we have to work twice as hard, especially for skin color, especially if you are a minority. I would say even if you're a woman, you have to work twice as hard. There's obviously different levels of it. Most don't talk about is that whenever you're instilled with that type of mindset, there's conditioning involved that's instilling that unless we work hard, unless we overwork ourselves, unless we're doing 2-3 jobs, or we're going above and beyond and we're perfect, we're not going to make it. It leads to that constant feeling that we cannot ever turn off. We cannot ever just be in a soft girl era and just enjoy ourselves because we're like, oh my gosh, I need to be perfect. I need to be doing this. I need to be prepared. I need to be alert. And so there's that conditioning that's a part of us. We take that into other areas of our lives where we feel like we need to be perfect in certain relationships. We can't accept help, and based on all the things that we spoke about. And so I'm just sharing this to remind you that it's important to be aware of this and be aware when you go into that protective mode. I need to be this and I need to do this. I need to not accept this because it doesn't feel normal. It is perfectly the norm to be taken care of and be treated well. I deserve to experience softness, joy, and peace. And strength doesn't always have to mean hardship all the time and doing everything alone and being alone all the time. Strength can also represent us being gentle with ourselves, bracing ourselves, seeking support, prioritizing our well-being, and receiving. It's about breaking free from societal pressures that dictate we always have to be strong and independent. We can be successful and still nurture our feminine side. We can pursue our careers while enjoying the simple pleasures of life, nurturing our creativity, and building meaningful connections. I want you to repeat after me. I'm allowed to enjoy life. I'm allowed to not be stressed out all the time. I'm allowed to not always be in survival mode and actually experience peace. I don't have to be strong all the time. And it's okay to just sit back, relax, and receive.